Welcome to the Wind Up with Will, everyone. This is your host, Will, again. And it's been a bit since I've done a video, so I'm just going to go back into talking about sports. So this week I'm going to share about something that's currently going on that some of you might not know is going on, is the Rugby World Cup. This is week 3 now of the Rugby World Cup. They're still in pool play or group stage, whatever you want to call it. So 20 teams and 4 different groups of 5. And it's been pretty exciting to watch a couple of the games so far. Some of the favorites so far in this tournament, the favorites going into the tournament, I should mention, were Ireland, who's currently number 1 in the world, South Africa, New Zealand, France, England's up there as well as Scotland. But really, the top 4 teams going into this were Ireland, New Zealand, South Africa, and France. France is the host country for this, so they're going to have the home crowd behind them. Ireland is number 1 in the world and look like they could be uh, really good, have a good chance to win this. Part of the reason I'm wearing Notre Dame. There's another reason I'm wearing this, but um, they look really good. Unfortunately, though, they drew a horrible group and are in the same group with South Africa, the defending World Cup champions, who they actually play today at 2 o'clock on Peacock. If you have Peacock, you can watch the game there. It's going to be an exciting game between 2 of the top 4 teams competing to win the Rugby World Cup. But I'll go a bit through how the polls currently stand in this tournament. Give me a second. Okay. So this is my horrible handwriting. So as you see up here, up over here in Pool A, France is currently top of Pool A. They've played 3 games. They have 13 points. They kind of do a bonus point system in this, in the pool standings where if you score more than 4 tries, which is their equivalent for a touchdown for my football fans watching, when you score more than 4 tries, you get a bonus point in the standings. And if you lose by less than 7 points in a game, you also get a bonus point. So that's why they kind of have these odd points. If you win a game, you get 4 points. If you draw a game, you get 2 points. And you can get bonus points based on whether you score 4 or more tries or you lose by less than 7 points. So in a game you lose, you could actually score 2 points in the standings for having scored more than 4 tries and losing by only 7 points. So I don't think anyone's done that so far in this tournament, but there's definitely been a lot of bonus points on the board. So in Pool A, you've got Pool A up here, up over here. You've got France at the top. They've played 3 games. They have 13 points, just showing how they're one of the favorites. Italy has played 2 games and has 10 points. They've beaten Uruguay and I believe it's Nambia is how you say that country's name and last there. And then New Zealand is there in third with 5 points. They've not yet played Italy. I suspect they will beat Italy pretty badly. Um, and then over here in Pool B, here you have Ireland at the top, having played 2 games. They have 10 points so far in each of the games. They've scored a bonus point for having more than 4 tries. They've scored, I believe, a total of 20 tries so far, having played Tonga and Romania. They play South Africa this week, which will be a real test for them to see if they really are the number 1 in the world and capable of pulling this World Cup hope off for them. They've never won the World Cup before, so there's a lot of hope that this team can win it. South Africa's in second, and they've played 2 games and have got 9 points. Scotland has only played 1 game so far. They have no points. Tonga has played 1 game and was killed by Ireland. They have no points in the standings. Romania is last, having played 2 games, 0 points. Over in Pool C now, you have Wales at the top. I apologize again for my horrible handwriting. I know this is probably hard to read. In Pool C, you have Wales, Fiji, Australia, Georgia, and Portugal. Wales is on top, 2 games, 10 points. Fiji and Australia have both played 2 games and have gotten 6 points, but Fiji beat Australia, so they have kind of the tiebreaker over them. And Georgia and Portugal have played each other and drawn. That's why they both have 2 points. Pool D, you had down over on so this side of the board down here, you have England, Samoa, Japan, Argentina, and Chile. England played 2 games, they're on top, 9 points. Samoa has 5 points, Japan has 5 points, Argentina has four, and Chile has zero. So out of this so far, I think in Pool A, France is going to advance. They're clearly one of the favorites, best team. They've got 13 points. They're knocking on the door of already advancing. New Zealand will be the second team. They're going to beat Italy. It would be one of the greatest upsets of all time for Italy to beat New Zealand, knock them out of the World Cup. That would be insane. Because to my football fans, New Zealand is the equivalent of Alabama football. That's what they are. They just dominate the sport of rugby. So I think New Zealand's going to come out of Pool A as well. Pool B, I think it will be Ireland, South Africa. Scotland's a good team. Like Pool B was the pool of death. Like out of those teams there, that's three of the top five teams, I believe, because I think Ireland's one, South Africa's two, and I think Scotland is five. Like that was just a horrible draw for those teams because Scotland has a good team. They've got high hopes. South Africa's the defending champions, and Ireland's currently ranked number one. That's a horrible draw for those teams. But I think it's going to be Ireland and South Africa. Ireland looks like they're the best team in the world right now. South Africa's the defending champs. They're going to come through. They've already beat Scotland. So Scotland's really only hope to advance is to kill Tonga and Romania and beat Ireland. And they should be able to beat Tonga and Romania, but I don't really see them beating Ireland. Possibility, but I think Ireland and Ireland and South Africa, I'm sorry, will advance. Pool C, it's going to be Wales, and I'm going to go Australia. I think they're going to find a way back in it. They've got 2 more games to play, and it's probably going to come down to whether them or Fiji gets bonus points playing Georgia and Portugal. Wales, they're going to advance. Pool D, it's going to be England, and I'm going to pick Japan. Japan over the past few years has been really good. They had a surprise kind of underdog. They had an underdog win in the last World Cup over Ireland, who at the time was also ranked number one in the world, I believe, at the time. So Japan, I think, is capable of winning and maybe making a run. So I have them winning or being runner up in Pool D. England will win. This is kind of an easy group for England to win, and they're like ranked like eighth or ninth, I think, in the world. So easy group for them. But it's exciting. Today at 2 o'clock, South Africa and Ireland play one another. I'm going to say Ireland. Camera just went out of focus. I'm going to say Ireland wins. I think they're the better team. They're ranked number one in the world, and just having watched them play the past 2 games, they've just destroyed their competition. Now, South Africa's not a cakewalk like those 2 other teams, but they struggled a little bit against Scotland. So I'm interested to see how they play against Ireland. Kind of think Ireland will win. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Ireland's the better team. I think they're going to win. Now, after talking about the Rugby World Cup, I want to talk about the MLB Playoff race that's currently going on. Playoffs are here. They're just a couple weeks away. It's exciting as a baseball fan, but as a New York Mets fan, it's been a rough season. We were eliminated last night. Can't make the playoffs. There were too many games back in the wild card at this point. It was going to be a miracle anyway if we even got close. But in the National League, I had the standings pulled up here. In the National League, the current wild card standings, we have the Phillies in the first wild card spot, Arizona. So Phillies are up 5 games in the number 1 wild card spot. Arizona's up 1 game in the 2 spot. And then you have the Cubs in the 3rd spot there, holding on by 1 game over the Marlins, a game and a half over the Reds. The Giants are 3 games out. The Padres are 4 games out. And the hoping for a miracle Pirates are 7 games out. Pirates aren't making it. I'm going to say the Padres and Giants aren't making it. The Giants have had kind of an up and down stretch, or up and down season. There's times where it's looked like, hey, they're going to be a wild card team. There's times where it's like, they're not going to be a wild card team. I think they're a little too inconsistent. I don't I don't look at their team and just think that they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, they've got some decent pitching, they have some decent hitters, but it's just not all around good enough. I think they're a few pieces away from the playoffs. The Padres have been massively inconsistent this year. Even though it looks like Blake Snell will probably win the Cy Young for as pitching for them. Um, they've just not been very consistent. Their hitting has just been odd. Like they have good hitters, but it's like they don't get hits together. They don't hit. They've not had chemistry. And Soto has not really lived up to what people thought he would be. Machado's not had that great a year. Still a good year, but for Machado, it's kind of a down year. So they've struggled. I think the Reds have too much inconsistency in pitching. I don't think their pitching's quite good enough. They've got a great young team. The next 5 to 10 years for the Reds are going to be exciting times, competing for the playoffs, making playoffs, maybe having World Series hopes and aspirations. They have a great young team there. They are not far away from the playoffs, Reds fans. They are not far away. Living here in Kentucky, I know plenty of Reds fans that have gone through a lot of suffering. They're not far away. They're not far away. The Marlins, I think, have the pitching. I think they lack the hitting and the experience. They've got good pitching, and they do have a few good hitters. Jazz Chisholm, I think, has moments of being a good hitter. He's a great athlete, and Luis Arraez looks like he's the best hitter in baseball. Just like for most of the season, he was batting like 370. He's down to like 350 now, but still, that's insane to be batting 350 at the end of the year. They're a game out, so it's possible them and the Reds. I think both of those teams could make a push. Sure, they're only a game and a game and a half out, but I like the teams ahead of them. The Cubs have more consistency in pitching. They have a veteran skipper, and they've got some good veteran players. The reemergence of Cody Bellinger makes me picking him as comeback player of the year, and my predictions look amazing. I, even though I think that video was kind of like a month into the season when I did that video. So, I mean, I'm not Nostradamus, but I think he probably will win Comeback Player of the Year. He's contributed to Dansby Swanson. They've got a good team. Arizona has one of the bright future stars of the game in Corbin Carroll. Phenomenal player. He's going to win Rookie of the Year in the National League. They have good pitching, and Zach Gallen, who looked like he had a shot for the Cy Young for most of the year. I think he's kind of fallen out of that race. But they've got him, Merrill Kelly. They've got good pitching. And then the Phillies, who I think have one of the best lineups in baseball, and they've got solid pitching as well with Zach Wheeler, Taijuan Walker, and Aaron Nola. Those are 3 solid starters. Those are going to be the wild card teams. In the divisions, though, the divisions are pretty much locked up at this point. Braves and Dodgers have both clinched their divisions. The Dodgers are, I feel like, and it might just be because my family's Braves fans, I feel like I hear about how great the Braves are all the time, and no one really talks about the Dodgers. But I've been more focused on football season currently, so I've not, nor do I follow a bunch of Dodgers news. But the Dodgers are a great team, and they're really good. But the Braves, I think, should be the favorites in the National League. Just basically a murder's row of a lineup. And then the other team that is, I believe, 1 game away from winning their division is the Milwaukee Brewers. They're up 8 games on the Cubs. That division's pretty much locked up for them. And over in the American League, we have the Twins, who have clinched their division. They're up 8.5 over Cleveland. Cleveland Spiders, Guardians, Indians, the Ians, whatever you want to call them. Twins won. They're probably the worst team that's going to make the playoffs, but that's okay. They won their division. Good for them. But there are 2 great division races in the American League with the Orioles and Rays within a game and a half of each other. Both of them have already clinched playoff spots. Both of them have the 2 best. They have the 2 best records in the American League. But the Orioles, the Orioles are up a game and a half on the Rays. I think the Rays have better pitching. The Orioles, I think, have a better lineup. But that's going to be interesting to see that over the next couple of weeks how that goes. Who's going to win that division? Who's going to be playing in a 3-game wild card series? And in the American League West, you've got another great division race. The Rangers and Astros. The Rangers are up half a game on the Astros. Who Astros have dominated that division for a little over a half decade now. And then the Mariners are only a game back in that division. So that's really that that's an exciting division race. And then in the wild card in the American League, you have Tampa Bay. Since they have the second best record, they're the top wild card. They're up 8.5 games on the Blue Jays, who have the second wild card spot, and they're up a game on the Astros, who have the third and final wild card spot. The Mariners are only a half game back of that final wild card spot, and the Yankees, who are kind of hoping for Hail Mary right now, are 7 games back in the wild card. Every other team in the American League is eliminated. The wild card race in the National League is more exciting. The division races in the American League are more exciting. It's really a shame that MLB did away with the playoff game, the tie breaking game, that some people call it. Um, some of the greatest games in MLB history have been decided by two teams tied at the end of the year. One's going to make the playoffs, one isn't, or one's going to win the division, the other gets the wild card, and to decide it, they play one extra game. They play game 163, like Monday or Tuesday, like after the regular season ends. I think that's such a cool thing. I think that should be brought back. It's part of baseball history, and you get more baseball. Who doesn't want more baseball? But it's exciting to see how those races will go. As we get closer to the playoffs, I'll make my playoff predictions based on the teams that are currently in the playoffs, the teams that are currently in playoff spots, who I think is going to win it all. But we'll wait. We'll wait a bit to do that video because I've still got to talk about the NFL and college football today. Now, as some of you might know, the NFL is now in its full swing. It's in week 3. So my heart goes out to all those fantasy owners who are 0-2 right now in fantasy football, or your favorite team is 0-2. If all of those Giants fans out there, it's who I don't really feel sorry for as a Cowboys and Titans fan. I'm a Titans fan, but Cowboys fan first. Don't feel sorry for the Giants fans at all. Sorry. Um, the NFL season's in week 3 now. It's in full swing. There's been a couple injuries. If you followed it so far, Aaron Rodgers went out in Game 1 pretty early for the Jets. That's huge. That's a big blow to them. You go and get this guy. You have great hopes of being a playoff team, competing for the division, maybe even a Super Bowl. And he tears his Achilles, and it looks like he might not even be ready for Week 1 of next year. So that's unfortunate. Sorry, my phone turned off. I've got all the NFL games on it that are coming up this weekend. So that was horrible. Nick Chubb gets injured on Monday night this past week. That was a horrible injury. It was very horrific. Very horrific. Prayers go out to him and Aaron Rodgers. Hope both of them are doing better, especially Nick Chubb. Like, that looked devastating. Like, I really hope he can come back to some capacity. Aaron Rodgers has had a full great career already. Nick Chubb's still a fairly young running back. Just, that's a horrible injury for Nick Chubb. Horrible for the Browns as well. He's their best player. Losing him, he's also their best offensive player. I think Deshaun Watson is not quite what he was back in the day. He's still a capable quarterback, but Nick Chubb's definitely a weapon. Losing him is very, very bad for them. They did still. No, they actually lost that game for some reason. I thought they won that game for a second. They lost. They lost to the Steelers on Monday night. Upcoming this weekend, the Cowboys are looking to remain 3-0, play the Cardinals, and my Titans are looking to improve to 2-1 over the Browns at Cleveland. I was at the game this past Sunday. Great win for the Titans over the Chargers. Ryan Tannehill looked like a much better quarterback than he did in Week 1. I believe Anthony Richardson went out for the Colts this past week with a concussion. That's going to hurt them. He looked like he was going to prove me wrong, as I said in my preseason pick that I did not have any hope for him, and he actually kind of proved me wrong until he got that concussion. Other exciting games upcoming this weekend are the Saints at the Packers. Saints are 2-0, Packers are 1-1. That'll be an interesting game to watch. Both those teams are good. Rivalry game between the Patriots and Jets also this weekend. Patriots 0-2, Jets 1-1. Texans and Jaguars divisional rivalry game going on. Chargers and Vikings, two good teams who are 0-2 playing. Who can get that first win? The Bears play at the Chiefs, the team that should have traded up and picked Patrick Mahomes, but instead picked someone else. And then you got an old classic rivalry game on Sunday night between the Steelers and Raiders. And then Monday night, you've got the Eagles and Bucks, two 2-0 teams. That's going to be a great matchup. The Bucks kind of being a surprise this year. I kind of picked them to be kind of a dark horse team to make the playoffs or win their division. I think Baker Mayfield's going to be comeback player of the year, and he's looked good so far in the first two games. So yeah, might be Nostradamus after all. Might get some picks right. And then the Rams and Bengals are the other Monday night game. The Bengals are 0-2, surprisingly. Joe Burrow's not played well since getting the big contract. The Bengals have not played well. The Rams are 1-1, looking to improve to 2-1 and stay competitive in a tough NFC West. And the Rams also just traded Cam Akers. They traded him to the Vikings, who needed a running back. That's exciting for them. It's also exciting for me, as I have Cam Akers in two of my fantasy leagues, and I was really upset that he did not play this past weekend. So hopefully he gets to play soon and gets me some fantasy points. Also, I'd like to mention, keep me in your thoughts and prayers. I am managing 5 fantasy football teams this season, so I am my time is taken up. But it's fun. It's fun. What else was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, college football. College football is going on. We're now in week 3. No, week 4. We're in week 4. Technically week 5 because there's that week 0 where like half the teams play and half the other teams don't play and don't really recognize it as week. Oh, college football is just a weird thing. But there's some exciting games this weekend in college football. You got Florida State and Clemson playing right now in the third quarter. That game's tied 17-17. Florida State's number 4 in the country. And Clemson has fallen out of the top 25 for the first time in what feels like 1,000 years. Michigan and Rutgers is currently playing. Michigan's beating Rutgers 17-7. That's not a great look for Michigan. It's 6 minutes to go in the third. Rutgers is not very good at all. Michigan's the number 2, so we'll see how that affects their standings in the AP poll. Oklahoma's beating Cincinnati 10-3. See, I told y'all Cincinnati was better than what people thought, but that was also a few years ago when they were in a different conference. Colorado and Oregon is going to be a great matchup this weekend. Colorado had that amazing overtime game last weekend with Colorado State, their in-state rival. I went to bed by second overtime. I couldn't stay up. But exciting finish in that game. Colorado is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And they're playing at Oregon this week. Both teams are 3-0. Oregon's 10 in the nation. Colorado's number 19. That's going to be an exciting game. That's at 2:30 on ABC. UCLA and Utah are also playing at 2:30. UCLA's 22 in the nation. Utah is number 11. We've got an big SEC West matchup between Ole Miss and Alabama. Ole Miss is 3-0 and 15 in the country, and Alabama is outside the top 10 in what feels like 10,000 years. They're ranked 13th, and they're 2-1. That was a great win a few weeks ago by Texas over them. Is this the end of Nick Saban in Alabama? No, I'm not going to start that trend. As soon as you say something like that, they just go on to win 5 in a row. For all my rugby fans out there, Alabama is the New Zealand of college football. That's going to be a good matchup, though. That game is also at 2:30. Man, there's a bunch of good games at 2:30. What other games? Got Oregon State and Washington State, the two holdouts in the Pac-12 that have not done anything with everyone else just kind of abandoning them. Now, Oregon State's 14 in the nation. Washington State's 21. Both those teams are 3-0. That's going to be a good game tonight. We've got another great matchup with Georgia playing powerhouse UAB. That I'm joking, UAB is not a powerhouse. So number one in the nation playing Georgia playing UAB. Georgia's favored by 40 points. We've got Iowa and Penn State. Both those teams are 3-0. They're playing at 6:30 tonight on CBS. Iowa's 24, Penn State is 7. That's going to be a good matchup. I think Penn State will probably win that game. Iowa does not, the last couple of years, have not had the best offense. And as you probably assume, the final game, there's several games on at the same time, that I'm going to mention is Notre Dame versus Ohio State. Go Irish. Notre Dame and Ohio State is at 6:30 tonight on NBC. Ohio State's number 6 in the nation. Notre Dame's number 9. Notre Dame's 4-0. Ohio State's 3-0. It's going to be a good matchup. Ohio State's favored by 3 points. I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I would pick Notre Dame. Notre Dame's at home. This is the best they've looked in a while, and for the first time in what feels like forever, we've got a good quarterback. Notre Dame has a good quarterback capable of competing with other big teams' offenses. It's going to be a good game, fun game, and I think it will go down to the wire. It's going to be a good one. And I'll end on this. I forgot to mention earlier that Shohei Ohtani for the Angels, the best player in baseball, one of the best athletes in the world. He's out for the season with an elbow injury, underwent elbow surgery. We'll see how that affects his upcoming free agency. From what has been said, it looks like he's not going to be pitching next year, resting that elbow, but he'll still be ready to hit for next year. Should be ready to pitch again in 2025. I think that's all. That's all I've got today. Kind of got a shorter video. I know the last video I did was kind of long. I'm going to try and make the videos a little shorter, around 20-ish minutes. That way it's easier for people to watch. I know longer videos are kind of hard to watch. But I thank you all for the support. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you got any comments, cuss words, concerns, put them in the comments down below, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.